Hi makers, it's Cindy here, Candle Studio 1422 and the Soy Candle Mentor. And today I want to talk about 6 of the common mistakes that I see makers make all the time. I did a podcast on this a while back, sometime last year. It still applies. So I'm going to link that podcast in the show notes. I also talked a little bit about a couple of these in my last video because they are that important. It will come up time and time again. You'll hear me talk about it in eBooks or courses that I'm developing because these things happen all the time and it really affects your growth and your wallet, okay? Your bank account. So number 1, let's talk about purchasing too many fragrance oils. What I suggest is that you pick some of the scent families that you know you want some fragrances in. For example, maybe you're going to specialize in food scents, so you want those gourmand scents. And if you know you want food scents, order, I'd say 15 to 20 food scents, and you want to narrow that down to 5 to 8 that you're going to test out. If you want a range of scents from food, or maybe you don't want food scents, you want floral and earthy, fresh, whatever it is, pick a couple of scents from each scent family. And again, tops 15 to 20 fragrance oils that you're going to narrow down to 5 to 8 that you're actually going to test for your initial line. You can get other people's opinions on the scents, or just so you're not relying on your own olfactory, your own sense of smell for the fragrances. But I would still narrow it down to 5 to 8 that you're actually going to test to launch your initial line. It doesn't mean that those other fragrance oils that you purchase or other ones that you're interested in, you can never ever touch them again. This is just for your initial line. You want to be decisive and you want to test thoroughly. You don't want to be too overwhelmed with too many fragrances. You don't want to start off with too much. You really want to fine tune that initial line and just take it from there with all of your testing. Secondly, a thing that I see, because it kind of ties into the whole testing thing, is makers rushing to sell. And this is a big mistake. You should not sell or even give away your candles until you have thoroughly tested them. Number 1, that you want to make sure you have candles that have good scent throw, and you want to make sure you have candles that burn safely. So don't rush the testing process. Testing could take weeks for some, it could take months for others. I really believe if it takes any longer than that, maybe there's a little analysis paralysis there. But don't rush the testing process. Don't rush to sell. I think sometimes, we are in, say, a financial situation where we really want or need that extra money. And so we see candle making and selling candles as a way to make quick money, but doesn't work that way. You really want to make sure you have a good product out there and that you have the proper, you have your business set up properly and insurance and all that, but we're not thinking about that right now. We're just testing right now and figuring out our fragrances. Okay, so don't rush your testing process. It is critically important. Another thing that people do far too often, I did it myself, you look at other candle makers for inspiration, but instead you end up comparing yourself when you are not in the same place. You're not in the same stage of business. So be careful not to compare yourself to other makers. And quite frankly, there are, candle companies out there, makers out there who have the appearance of being successful, but how profitable are their businesses? You could have thousands and thousands of followers and, you don't have a profitable business. So be very careful not to compare yourself to other makers. Be very mindful of where you are in your process, in your stage of business, and make sure you are making sound, practical decisions for where you are and where you want to go. Don't compare yourself to other makers. It's a trap, okay? And it will have you stagnant. I can't launch. Their website looks so much better than mine. Their labels look so much better than mine. Or they have, 10,000 followers and I have 100, or maybe not even that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just take the steps that you need in the order that you need to take them. to launch your business, grow your business, and scale your business. Don't compare yourself to other makers. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know if that's a profitable business or not. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter because that's their business and this is your business. So again, don't do it. Okay. Number 4, getting discouraged because you're not making sales quick enough. Boy, I can't remember the first sale I had, but it took forever. I had my website up for months and months and did not sell a thing. And there are a lot of things that go into, particularly if you're doing it online. Now, if you go to markets, that's a little bit different because you're face to face. You're more likely to make a sale or two or more. But online, it's really tough. Do not get discouraged. I've seen time and time again, particularly in Facebook groups, like, oh, I'm so down. I don't know if candle making is for me because I launched my site. I put all this work into testing and, and branding and all of that. And I launched my site and it's crickets. I'm not getting any sales. Well, it's not that you build it and they will come type of thing with candle making or any online business. There are lots of things that need to drive traffic to your site. It is not all social media. It is a lot of your SEO, and now you want to make sure you're optimized for artificial intelligence results. It's growing your email list, critically important, your email list. And your social media has some importance as well. I think sometimes we put so much weight in the social media part. With the algorithm, there's such a small percentage of your audience that's actually seeing your content. It's not necessarily a thing you should be your primary focus, but not your primary focus. So if you're not getting sales as quickly as you would like, don't get discouraged. Just to give you a statistic, and it may be a little depressing, but it's realistic. And the average conversion rate for an online store is 1 to 2%, right? So if you want to get a sale a day, that means you need to get a minimum of about 3,000 visitors to your website in a month. How do you get those visitors to your website? Okay, so it's a lot that goes into how you get visitors to your website, and that's definitely not for this video. But my point is not to discourage you, but to really let you know that just you put the website up. Don't get discouraged if you're not getting the sales. It is common. We can work on those things once we have our testing done. Once we have our websites up, then we can figure out as far as getting that traffic to the website. But it could take it could take some time. So, and then focus on other channels, maybe to make money. Markets are not for everyone, but to begin, it's usually a good way to bring in some revenue to your business and kind of get word of mouth out there and everything. So don't get discouraged if you don't sell too soon. If you are concerned about why you're not selling and you would like me to take a look at your website, for example, feel free to shoot me a message. I'll be happy to. No charge. I'm just going to give you my 2 cents. Number 5, and I have my list here so I don't forget. Not treating it like a business. And I kind of touched on that earlier. This is for those who, if you want a business, treat it like a business to begin with. I know when I started, it was a hobby. And I treated it like a hobby. And when I transitioned to a business, the decision, I would say, that I wanted to turn this into a business, it took some time for me to get the mindset of this is a business and not a hobby. Separating your finances, which is tough when you're not making money. So your business may not be generating any money, but even if you take some of your personal income and maybe, put that into your Shopify account, and then just that is for your business, and the rest of your personal income is for your personal income. That is it, and let's not dip one in the double dip. Okay, and tracking your expenses and being very mindful of what you spend. Maybe doing some comparison shopping. So treat it like a business. If you plan to sell before you start selling, or even giving away your candles as gifts, get the proper insurance. Insurance, the word sounds scary. And when you're starting off, it may seem expensive, maybe not as expensive as you think, but you definitely want to set yourself up legally, properly. It gives you peace of mind, okay? Number 6, and I talked about this on the last one as well, is buying all the things. And then my first ebook touches on this as well. You don't need a big wax melter. You don't need dozens and dozens of fragrances. You don't need tons of different jars to start with. You just need your basic supplies. It's very tempting when you see all these gadgets, but we're not there yet. We are just starting out. We are just starting maybe to test our candles, or even maybe we're just thinking about starting a candle business, or maybe it's a hobby. You do have some supplies, and you're thinking about, okay, I want to start a business. I need to get this, this, and that. But if it's working as a hobby, what you have, it'll probably work as you're just starting off your business. When I first started off my business, I still use the things that I had as a hobby. I graduated from pouring pot, double boiler method to a Presto pot. That was my big splurge, and that Presto pot was less than $60. I don't even think it was that much. But you don't need a lot. If your business, it gets to a point when you actually do start to, if your business cannot pay for it, then really think about if you actually need it, or if you can, still use what you have and grow your business in order to, and so you can support those purchases, okay? So again, let's just go back through. The first, buying too many fragrance oils, don't do it, right? 2, selling too soon and rushing your testing process. We want a quality product. It's our reputation, our business's reputation on the line. So we want to make sure that we do things in the proper way. 3, we want to not compare ourselves to other more established makers. We don't know what their story is, and that's fine. Their story is their story. Yours is yours. We all have our own paths. We all do things in our own time and in our own way. So stop with the comparison analysis. If you want to look at others for inspiration, that's different, because you really should see and I wouldn't say competitors, I would say just look at other makers as inspiration. Maybe they have a style that you like, their website is, and the branding is similar to what you want to do, and it's not to copy, but just for inspiration, okay? Number 4, getting discouraged because you're not selling fast enough. I hate to break it to you again, but selling candles online is not easy. The people can't smell it. So you really have to work on other things to get the traffic there and tell the story of your business and your candle, and things that really entice people to purchase. So don't get discouraged if you're not getting the sales that you want. And I know sometimes we're in financial situations where we desperately want to make money, but don't let your desperation dictate your path. Okay. All right. Number 5, not treating it like a business to start. Treat it like a business to begin with, and you'll put yourself on a better footing for when you do start to grow and scale. And finally, you don't have to buy all the things. Focus on what you really need to make candles. The important things like your wax, of course, your jars. I suggest starting with 1 jar, maybe 2, if you want to, splurge a little bit. Your labels, your wick stickers, wicks, things like that. Fragrance oils, of course, but just your Presto pot or your double boiler, whichever one you're going to go with. But really focus on the things that you need and not necessarily things that you want. You want to focus on where you are in your business and be very mindful of your costs, and that really ties into treating it like a business. But anyway, those are the 6 things, or 6 of the things I see, mistakes that I see new makers make. Not the only ones, but those are 6 that I see pretty commonly. But I'm here to tell you, it can happen. You just have to be patient. Patience is not my strong suit either, but you can do it with making logical, very and mindful steps in your business. Thanks for joining, makers, and be sure to subscribe and like I would greatly appreciate it, and more content to come.